Well, hi there. I'm Dr. Christine Anderson. I am a doctor of chiropractic. I'm also a homeopath, and I have a postgraduate degree in pediatrics and pregnancy, as well as childhood developmental disorders. So I have a whole lifetime um, of chiropractic experience. And when I thought about what I wanted to talk about tonight, I did want to talk about chiropractic, but rather than doing a generic, what is chiropractic, I thought I would share with you all how I came to be a chiropractor and why I chose a chiropractic lifestyle, or as a lot of us say in chiropractic, this profession chose us. So this beginning of how it came to be has a lot to do with the philosophy of chiropractic, and the founder of chiropractic is B.J. Palmer. You're going to hear more about him later on, about how he discovered chiropractic. But what he said was, in the future, chiropractic will be valued for its preventative qualities as much as for relieving and adjusting the cause of ailments. And I think that really says it all, because what really excites me in my life is being proactive, trying to prevent issues from happening or catching them really early on so they can be easily taken care of rather than waiting till something huge comes along. So I hope you really enjoy this journey, basically about my life. And it was really going through pictures, it was really kind of a trip down memory lane. And I thought, oh my gosh, I am never going to get to putting this presentation together because I was having too much fun going through photos. All right, so here we go. Talk about way back in the beginning. So this picture on the left is me in my first year of life. I was born in December of 1963, so I would say I was probably maybe 9 months here or something like that. And there's my dad doing press-ups with me in a weight. And he was 20 when I was born, so he's really pretty young here. And it's pretty incredible because my youngest is 20 now. So it is a little wild looking at this photo of my dad at the same age that my youngest son is. And you can see here too, my dad is thin, somewhat fit, but he was a smoker at that time. And, when I was growing up, I didn't have the lifestyle I have now. So I'm now a vegan. We were meat, mashed potatoes, a vegetable, usually from frozen, and a salad with iceberg lettuce, tomato, cucumbers, and like a Thousand Island dressing or a French dressing. That was typically our dinner. So we had an omnivore diet. There wasn't a lot of junk food. We had some ice cream and not a lot of candies and cookies, but some sweets around. I wasn't a big snacker growing up. But that was pretty much where I was coming from. I grew up in a town called Fairfield, which is an hour outside of New York City, up the coast and on the Long Island Sound. So it was a beach town. And although you had the city there, which was an hour away, this was not, we were a suburb. So culturally, it might as well have been a long distance away because that didn't really cross over. The other picture there you see is my first day of kindergarten. So that's my first day into my academic career, as you could say. Because I was born in December, I did start school at 4. But that wasn't really a big deal for me at that period of time. So this is fast forwarding to my high school time. This is a picture taken for my senior yearbook. And this is the time when I had to decide, what did I want to do? What kind of career did I want to do? And I was vacillating between a career in art and a career that was more science-based. Basically, I thought I wanted to go to medical school, and you can even see that if you can read it in the blurb there in my yearbook picture. So I had decided that I was going to do pre-med studies at University of Vermont, and pretty much decided not to pursue something in the art field, probably because I didn't realize I could be a fine artist. I was looking at maybe doing some interior design, something like that, which I think I would have been good at, but I think I made the wisest choice. And again, this is about listening to that inner self, what really sits with you. So with going to University of Vermont, even though it was a pre-med studies, it wasn't really anything more than taking the prerequisites to get into medical school. And that really kind of served me well in the future once I decided I wanted to be a chiropractor. Another key point to this is that when I was 16, I started working at a health spa. And it was for women, and I helped to set up their exercise plans, and I helped to do their food, setting up what they were to eat and not eat. So nutrition and diet started coming into my consciousness. Now, I actually have to go backwards a little, and I wanted to put a picture in here, but I didn't get around to finding one from junior high school. So let me actually backtrack, because part of the story that really led me to chiropractic also involved the fact that my dad had his first heart attack when I was 12 and he was 32. So I had just started junior high school, and I remember being called into the office, and I knew something was up in the morning because my mom had to take him to the hospital, and finding out later that having heart attacks at a young age are typically more deadly because you don't have that corollary circulation. He was really lucky to survive. So where this key part comes in is that after he came home, our lives changed, meaning that he stopped smoking, which was great. He started walking after dinner. So he had always done weights and that type of thing, but never really any cardio exercise for the heart. The really big thing were changes to our diet. So, of course, now that I know so much more, I don't think it was enough at the time, but it still made an impression on my 12-year-old brain that we were changing our life because of my dad's heart attack. So the message that I got was the things you do in your life affect your health. So, we switched out butter for margarine, which is not great. Now we know this. And, the skin was coming off the chicken and being baked. There was no longer a lot of fried things, not so much steak. And then things came along like turkey bacon and that type of thing. My dad now actually is with someone who is vegan, so I think he's even eating way better now because he's having more things like beans and rice and that type of thing. So he is still alive, by the way. He has 9 lives. He's still going strong, even though he does still have heart disease. 30% of his heart is muscle, or the function is only left. But you got to give it to him. He's still hanging in there. So this is part of it. I started realizing what you do in your life matters, and then I started myself working at a place that was supposed to be healthy. There were some things that now, I look at it and go, oh, it could have been healthier, but at least it was the beginnings for me. So I went off to UVM, University of Vermont, and I was, in my summer times, I was coming back to Connecticut, and there were other times I went to Florida, but each time I would come back in the summer, I was working at health spas, helping people with their exercise programs. And one day, a member came in and I was helping her out. And of course, we're talking, what are you doing in college? I said, I'm pre-med. And she looked at me and was like, you should be a chiropractor. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, remember, this was pre-internet. So she brought in some information for me, some brochures and whatnot. And I started reading about chiropractic. And the philosophy of chiropractic hit me just like pow. It was one of those things that you just know, at least I did. I was like, there is no doubt in my mind that this is what I want to do. And this is what the philosophy is. The brain controls all the functions in the body. Okay, I had never really thought about it before. Chiropractors remove any interference, which we call subluxations. I'll get into that more later. And those subluxations are causing interference in that communication of the brain with the rest of the body and the body's feedback system to the rest of the brain. So chiropractors give an adjustment, a chiropractic adjustment that is specific to remove that interference or any interferences that are found. And then once that interference is removed, communication is restored between the brain and the rest of the body. And then the body is able to self-heal and self-regulate. So basically, this is saying that we have everything within us to heal. We just have to have access to it. And that's what chiropractors do. That it was one of those instant, that's what I want to do. And I literally just threw going to medical school out the window. It wasn't, oh, let me try to get in, or I don't know. Let's see. I said, no, I want to be a chiropractor. And I never had a chiropractic adjustment. I had never been to a chiropractor. And at that moment, I didn't know that my mother had been to a chiropractor because she used to go when we were at school. So it was very interesting because I said to her, well, didn't the chiropractor ever say, hey, if you've got these issues, maybe you should bring your children in? And she said, no, he didn't. And that was very eye-opening as well, because that's, besides the fact I had basically my daughter right out of chiropractic college. And so she's grown up with chiropractic, and I grew my practice with her with chiropractic. So for me, it was a no-brainer that, of course, you would want to have children adjusted right from birth onwards, because that way they have full access to their brain, the nervous system, and they can function optimally and have a healthy, happy life, right? So also part of the job of a chiropractor, at least how I feel this is how I read it, is to teach, to educate. And that's really what doctor means as well. So the cause of subluxations, the things that create the interference, if we can prevent them from occurring in the first place, or at least once everything is released in the second place, then you have a better chance of not having recurring problems and recurring issues, and being more proactive and preventative rather than just chasing after issues. because I don't want to just work on symptomatology. And when I talk about more about chiropractic philosophy, it's the same thing. I'm looking for the underlying causes of why that interference is there, which is the subluxation. And that subluxation, what caused it, is another interest of mine. So this is really the big thing. This is why I chose chiropractic, this whole philosophy, and that made sense to me. So here's me at my graduation from University of Vermont in 1985 with my parents. And right after I graduated, this was another innate decision I made. It just came to me that I needed to go and live in London for a year. So after I graduated, I got a work visa to go work in London for a year. And I also applied for chiropractic colleges before I left for Europe. So I went on my merry way, and because of this, I met my husband while I was in London. Actually, I was there for 4 days. So this is just sort of how it goes when you're listening to your internal wisdom about what you need to do. Sometimes you don't know why you're doing it, but if it's the right thing and it feels good, to follow that bliss, to follow that thought that comes in, like, this is what I need to do. So I went off and lived in London, met him after 4 days. We came back about a year later, and that is when I went to Cleveland Chiropractic College in Los Angeles. That is a 3 1/3 year program, nonstop. There's no summer breaks or anything. It's like a 5-year program compressed. And I had done all my prerequisites at University of Vermont. I had done the basic ones and beyond because I had a 4-year degree. And I will go into chiropractic education at some point. But in this case, I was definitely all set. So there I am with my dad. My reason for really, one of the reasons why this philosophy rang true is because of his health issues and what those changes brought into our home at a very young and impressionable age. So, yep, there he is. One of the 2 times he's come out to Los Angeles, my graduation from chiropractic college, and then my daughter's graduation from chiropractic college. Yep, that's right. I have my children now who are all grown. This is them back in 2013, but so that was 8 years ago. My daughter's now a chiropractor. I believe she graduated about 8 years ago. So it was this was around the time she was finishing up chiropractic college. And then my son in the middle there has been living in New Zealand for about 4 years. And my youngest, the one who is now 20, is an artist. He graduated from LAXA, which is an art high school in Los Angeles. So, it's very interesting how things come around because he is living out the art profession, but having come from a household where I do have an art studio and an art room, and I take art classes, and I support my very expensive art habits with my chiropractic. That is definitely one of the joys. All right. So I just want to read this writings by B.J. Palmer, who is the son of D.D. Palmer. So B.J. Palmer is considered the developer of chiropractic. He really took the ball of chiropractic that his dad started, and he ran with it. And again, this really rings true of understanding and that knowing that we have everything within us to heal. We chiropractors work with the subtle substance of the soul. We release the imprisoned impulse, the tiny rivulet of force that emanates from the mind and flows over the nerves to cells and stirs them into life. We deal with that majestic power that transforms common food into living, loving, thinking clay, that robes the earth with beauty and hues and scents the flowers with the glory of the air. In the dim, dark distance long ago, when the sun first bowed to the morning star, this power spoke and there was life. It quickened the slime, the sea, and the dust of the earth, and drove the Jello union with its fellows in countless living forms. Through eons of time, it finned the fish and winged the bird and fanged the beast. Endlessly it worked, evolving its forms until it produced the crowning glory of them all. With tireless energy, it blows the bubble of each individual life and then silently, relentlessly dissolves the form and absorbs the spirit into itself again. And yet, you ask, can chiropractic cure appendicitis or flu? Have you more faith in a spoonful of medicine than in the power that animates the living world? So powerful. And there's his dad, D.D. Palmer, who said there's a vast difference between treating effects and adjusting the cause. And that is exactly what I do as a chiropractor. I look at myself as a type of detective, a health detective. I try to get to the reason why there are issues occurring, and it is all based on what is happening in the neurologic system. Where is that interference occurring from the brain to the rest of the body? And then what do I need to do to help remove that interference and then support the body by removing as many stressors as possible? So I hope you enjoyed this little look at why I chose the chiropractic lifestyle. I'm hoping that I can help you with your lifestyle and supporting the chiropractic way in getting to the real cause of the issue. So you can reach me at my website above. And if you like this, please give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends so that they can understand what chiropractic is about. And if you have any questions or comments, just reach out to me. I would love to hear from you and hear why you chose the lifestyle that you have. Thanks so much and have a nice night.